Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Life here, and today it is finally time to review that game. What's it called? Oh, ARMS or something. I think I might have mentioned it once or twice. No waffling this time. Let's get right into things. Despite being so often accused of relying too heavily on existing IPs, Nintendo has been refreshingly open to new ideas recently. Splatoon pretty much came out of nowhere and has been a major success, and now the Big N wants to try the same idea with ARMS. Yes, it is true that Nintendo has done fighting games a little bit like this in the past with things like Wii Boxing and Punch-Out and things like that, but just because you've played them, don't think for a moment you've played ARMS. Calling this game just a brawler is very misleading. It's a battle of wits where you try and keep your distance from your opponent, but not too much, and attempt to slap them round the chops with your telescopic limbs. It bears some hallmarks of games such as Power Stone for the Dreamcast, but even then this is a totally unique endeavour and quite a departure for Nintendo. Supporting a wide range of control methods, Nintendo has chosen to focus its promotional efforts on the old motion controls we've seen time and time again. Buttons are used for jumping, dodging, and changing targets, but moving, punching, and guarding are all handled with motions, and it sounds like a recipe for disaster. Weirdly though, it just works. You may well be spending early matches chucking out a few punches and doing your best to avoid incoming attacks, but if you take this tactic online, you'll soon be picking your teeth up off the floor. You'll need to incorporate copious amounts of well-timed dashing and last-minute blocking in order to stay alive. That's not to say that this is going to leave you with a purely defensive playstyle though. Blocking, dashing, and jumping are also used to charge your arms and make them throb with untold potential. Launching these charged puppies will not only deal more damage, but also unleash an elemental effect upon your foes, providing of course that their face meets your fist. As well as being surprisingly precise, these motion controls are also just so much more fun than traditional button inputs. I know it's not going to be for everyone, but give it a chance and you never know, you might surprise yourself. It's also a great little mini workout. The only real reservation we have with this control method is curving your punches. By tilting a Joy-Con left or right, you can twist your movement in order to change a jab into a hook, and at times it can be very difficult to keep the Joy-Con as dead straight as it wants, should you not wish to curve at all. Coming back to button controls though, it might be safe to assume that anyone worth their competitive salt will opt for more traditional button controls over the motion counterparts. I'm not a competitive player by any stretch of the imagination, so I'm not too much of an authority on the situation, but it does seem that both are as viable as one another, at least in the current climate. The essential dash and jump buttons are assigned to Y and X, and call us bonkers, but it just doesn't feel as intuitive or as natural to use these over the comfortably under the thumb alternative you get with the Joy-Cons. Much like Splatoon, we're sure that there will be those that swear by both methods, but neither one appears to be greatly superior to the other thanks to just how reliable these Joy-Con gizmos are. The character roster in ARMS consists of 10 fighters, each with their own unique quirks and abilities. Springman maintains charged arms at low health, Min-Min can deflect enemy attacks with a powerful kick, and Kid Cobra's speed raises massively when his arms are charged, to name a few. No one individual contender feels at all overpowered, but they do require totally different playstyles in order to master them properly and use them to their full potential. By keeping things limited instead of opting for a Smash Bros level of fighters, the entire cast feels beautifully balanced. However, the characters in ARMS are only half the story and indeed half the battle. You've also got a medley of the titular arms to bear with 3 default ones per character, and you can get more in the Arms Getter minigame. You can fiddle around with your loadout of 3 arms before entering a battle, and once inside you can then choose from that selection of 3 to batter your opponent with. The variety in these is frankly staggering, varying from quick curving punches that don't pack much of a punch to slow, ultra heavy monoliths that are easy to avoid but blimey biscuits, you better avoid them. Unlocking arms is one of the ways the games get you to keep coming back. Coins are needed to participate in the Arms Getter minigame, which are unlocked through pretty much any method of play, and even if you unlock the same arm twice, it'll not be for naught, as instead you'll increase the power of the arm in all modes. Speaking of modes, let's have a little chat about that, shall we? In the beginning, you're probably going to be spending a lot of your time in the Grand Prix mode, which is where, in typical fighting style, you'll have to take on all the game's characters up to a grand finale, with 7 different difficulties to choose from when you begin. Level 1 is almost insultingly easy, and we breeze through it without even skipping a beat. But in order to play in the rank mode online, you'll need to beat level 4. Easy, right? Right? I mean, it can't be 4 times as hard as level 1, surely. Surely. As it happens, yes, it can, and then some. In fact, I personally got my ass handed to me far too many times in level 4, and to be honest, I still have difficulty with level 5. Going through the different difficulties serves as a perfect training mode, slowly building you up and assuring you that any roadblocks you face means that you're just not pulling your weight and you need to practice a bit more. The versus mode is all local multiplayer all the time. Up to 4 fighters can take part in various battles, ranging from usual 1v1 fights to 2v2 volleyball. Aptly named V-Ball, you're tasked with using your arms to bat a giant explosive beach ball into the other opponent's area before they can return it. But there's also the grabbing-focused basketball game called Hoops, and an aiming simulator called Skillshot. Contrary to what I said before, there is also some single-player exclusive stuff in here as well. 1 on 100 tasks you with taking on, you guessed it, 100 enemies, and training is, well, I don't want to give it all away, but it's training. If you fancy taking the fights online, you have Party Mode, which is a bit of an easygoing free-for-all, where all the modes previously mentioned, plus a few others, are mixed up with you and those in your lobby. You're pitted against different people all the time, and it's a very refreshing way to get your arms fix. Playing against real people is infinitely more enjoyable than playing against CPUs, but that's not exactly anything new. The online seemed beautifully stable when we played, although it should be noted that this is when the server load was light due to it being the review period and all that. However, if the test punch is anything to go by, we're confident it'll be able to hold up just fine. ARMS is inherently a multiplayer game, and although there is a lot for the single-player market, you're probably going to get a bit tired of facing the CPU over and over again. But if you're willing to put yourself out there and really get stuck in with real people online, you're going to have a blast. Before I sum things up, I just want to very quickly mention the game's presentation. Oh my goodness, the presentation. Every character is absolutely bursting with color, the environments are full to the brim with personality, the sound is glorious. This is honestly finally showing us what the Switch is capable of. And what's more, everything runs at a rock solid 60 frames a second at 1080p. ARMS has undeniably had its doubters since its reveal. I was one of them, but once again Nintendo has shown us that we needn't worry and that they actually absolutely 100% really know what they're doing. The core gameplay is easy to grasp but difficult to master, the motion controls are intuitive, the character variety is fantastic yet fair, and there's an inherent depth that you can't understand without grasping the controllers yourself. It's also full of unlockables, and with the promise of new free content coming very soon, we are proud to give ARMS a 9 out of 10, as well as my own personal Joy-Con thumbs up. Its appeal is undeniable, it's unbelievably polished, immensely rewarding, and more importantly, it establishes a solid platform to create a popular and long-running series. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you beat that subscribe button 9 times out of 10, and be sure to check out NintendoLife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo-related content. Thank you again for watching, bye-bye.